Hey everybody, before we get started, I just wanted to say, if you enjoy our content and want to stay up to date with our videos, hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel. Thanks. So, on to the video.
Cahciua guides you into Solution 9, the largest district in the Everkeep. Here is where the Oblivion main headquarters is located. Your party is stunned by the sights that they're seeing. She describes the view as a shimmering city filled with technologies that cater to every conceivable need. But she believes seeing is believing and leaves your party to explore the city while she updates the Oblivion members that they have guests. Due to Sphene registering you as a guest, you should have no problem with security. Cahciua and Krile head off to explore together. Krile goes on her own to ask the locals about her earring her family left her. Erenville is skeptical about his mother, asking where she's at. She tells him she can't tell him yet for safety concerns and changes the subject, asking about his adventures. He casually mentions he found the city of gold and walks away. Cahciua is surprised and chases after her son. Gulu Ja, feeling completely out of her depth, asks for you to explore with her. As the two of you take in the incredible sights, you eventually bump into Queen Sphene. She's happy you had no trouble getting into the tower, then lets you know she has a request. She wishes for you to make peace with Zoraal Ja. Gulu Ja, unsettled by her request, questions her motives. Sphene claims she doesn't want Gulu Ja to do something she will regret, and that it would be dangerous to fight her brother as they lack regulators. Gulu Ja tells her she asks the impossible, as Zoraal Ja murdered their father and slaughtered their countrymen. As vow of resolve, it is up to her to stop him. Sphene understands her response, and she suggests to Gulu Ja to return to Tuliolal and prepare for Zoraal Ja's invasion. Gulu Ja tells her she needn't worry, as she has dependable comrades manning the fort while they take care of matters in Alexandria. Sphene envies Gulu Ja as she feels alone and trapped in the situation. Gulu Ja then lets her know she wishes to learn more about her and her people, as she truly doesn't fully trust Sphene, and asks her to guide her around the city and teach her more. Sphene is flattered by Gulu Ja's response and takes on her request wholeheartedly. Through the process of exploring Solution 9, you learn much about Alexandria's history and culture. Over 1,000 years ago, lightning energy began to swell in their world. Eventually, for half the year, severe thunderstorms ravaged the land. This trend continued as the people spent longer and longer underneath storm clouds. But one day, a material was discovered on their world that showed promise to save everyone: Electrope. This material can be seen all over Alexandria, from vending machines to flying airships. It has the ability to convert lightning energy into any other element. So the people on Sphene's world took advantage of the storms and made it a boon using Electrope. It was so useful that many nations became dependent on it, even though obtaining it in quantity was difficult. Eventually, nations resorted to taking Electrope from others, escalating the issue, as Electrope was used to invent new weapons and defenses for these nations. Before long, the entire world was at war, known as the Storm Surge. Alexandria's neighbor, Lindblom, committed all their stores of Electrope in creating a new weapon of mass destruction, causing the calamity that destroyed much of their world. The people of Alexandria lost much in the destruction and bore scars from those they lost too soon. In an attempt to stifle the fear of death, Alexandrian scientists turned to Electrope once again and developed the means to preserve memory and soul, creating the belief among its people that physical death is not the end. So long as their memories endure, they may live on. Sphene agrees that the people have become accustomed to spare souls. Without them, they feel vulnerable and anxious. Gulu Ja asks hypothetically if there would be any way to do away with this spare soul system. Sphene sighs deeply and says no. Gulu Ja understands it's hard to change their ways, just like the Mamul Ja and the use of blessed siblings. But if Zoraal Ja is defeated, Sphene would be able to make all the decisions. Then the two nations can work together to restore Alexandria to its former self before the storm surge, thus lessening the reliance on spare souls. Sphene takes in Gulu Ja's offer then looks to the ground. She then changes her expression and says there's something she needs to tell you both. You're curious what she has to say, but Sphene notices that they're being watched again and plays it off as if it's nothing important. She then says it was very lovely to show you both around. Wuklamot promises Sphene to show her around Tuliolal once Zoraal Ja is dealt with. The queen says she would like that very much, and the two of you head out. Sphene looks torn as the two of you leave and asks for forgiveness, as she will have to disappoint you. Once you're done with the queen, you and Wuklamot decide to head to the east side of Solution 9 to meet up with Cahciua. She promised to have someone show you the way to the base from there. When you arrive, you don't see any of your companions around, but you both notice a small blue-scaled Mamul Ja spying on you. The child flees at the sight of you both and runs off. Wuklamot notices something immediately: the child's resemblance to Zoraal Ja, as Zoraal Ja is the only blue-scaled Hubigo Mamul Ja. Believing such a small child shouldn't be running around alone, you both decide to follow him. You follow behind only to bump into the child again. It doesn't seem like he's trying to run away from you, but lead you somewhere. Wuklamot picks up the signal and lets the little one lead the way. He leads you to a bar a decent ways into the district. Wuklamot tries to get the young man's name, but he shakes his head and stays quiet. The bartender explains the boy only talks to people he is completely comfortable with. You let the bartender know you were supposed to meet with Cahciua and were led here by the child. She seems to understand and lets the bouncer know to let you pass into the back room of the bar. Inside you find the rest of your companions and the Oblivion headquarters. Mainly Shale, who focuses on surveillance and gathering intel from Everkeep's core systems. Oblivion's other task is also to investigate Preservation, the organization that laid the foundations of electrope technology. Alongside their innovations in electrope, their greatest feat was the power to join Alexandria and Tural, interdimensional fusion. But many years ago, a husband and wife defected from Preservation as they opposed the fusion of worlds. These two members are the original founders of Oblivion. While discussing, Shale mentions Krile's earring. During their scans, they notice a trace amounts of electrope in the earring. It is a data storage device. Krile then explains her origins to the members of Oblivion. Cahciua believes, with the information they have so far, that Krile's parents were the founders of Oblivion, or at least closely related. The founders were branded traitors to Preservation and were pursued endlessly. She believes if they did have a child, entrusting them to people from another world might have been their only real option. Krile wishes to learn more about her possible parents, but Cahciua explains that in order to hide from Preservation, the founders erased all traces of themselves. She then welcomes Krile to peruse the data they have gathered so far on Preservation and interdimensional fusion. Grahatia joins her, as his expertise may be helpful. As the students of Baldessian go over the data, Wuklamot asks about the Mamul Ja child. Cahciua believes he is Zoraal Ja's son as well. She explains that he was abandoned and was found outside the tower a few years ago. It's difficult to confirm the child's birth parents or why he was left on his own, but being the only other blue-scaled Hubigo in existence, it's hard to deny the odds. Even the child has put two and two together and realizes he was the son of the king and abandoned by him. Wuklamot asks his name. Cahciua named him Gulu Ja, after his grandfather, in hopes he would be like him someday. Wuklamot claims Gulu Ja as her nephew. She offers to take him in just like her father did for her, but she feels conflicted, as she is here to kill his father. Erenville spies someone out of the corner of his eye, and Shale looks at the cameras and informs everyone it was Gulu Ja. He overheard the whole conversation and left the area. Wuklamot is in a panic and wants to go after her nephew, as she wants to explain what she said and actually talk to him. The party splits up to search for Gulu Ja. Alize, Wuklamot, and yourself will look in the outskirts of the tower. Everyone else will search inside. You eventually find Gulu Ja in the ruins of old Alexandria, outside the tower. When you approach him, suddenly a rusty-looking sentry rushes to protect him. Wuklamot apologizes for scaring Gulu Ja and tells him she wants to get to know him better. The sentry asks if Gulu Ja wishes to speak with her as well. The boy mentions that he heard she wanted to kill his father. The sentry rears up to attack, calling your party villains. But Gulu Ja stops him. He wishes to get to know Wuklamot as well. She's happy to hear his answer and asks who the machine is. It introduces itself as Sir Otis Villona, Lord Captain of the Royal Knights of Alexandria. Gulu Ja explains that Otis is taking care of him all these years out here in the outskirts. You're curious how a royal knight could end up in the body of a machine, and Otis laughs and says he wouldn't mind going down memory lane once he's cooked for everyone. Wuklamot would rather have this conversation at the Oblivion headquarters, but is unable to deny her nephew once he lets her know he's really hungry. During the repast, Wuklamot spends some time with her nephew, telling him stories about herself and where she comes from, letting him know she wishes for the two of them to become family. The boy is happy to hear her words. Then, Sir Otis answers your questions on where and when he is from. Over 400 years ago, he was appointed Lord Captain of the Knights of Alexandria. This was before the calamity that altered their world. His foremost duty was to protect the royal family, which at the time consisted of the king, queen, and their daughter, the princess. By then, most of the world was in a war over Electrope. As you learned, this was the catalyst for the calamity. The king, queen, and many of their subjects lost their lives amidst the chaos. They were luckily able to protect the princess. Otis describes that the young queen rose to the occasion and brought hope to her people. He describes her as incredibly kind, even to the refugees from the enemy nation. But her reign was cut short as her body was ravaged by lightning, and one day she passed away. Otis then reveals while the queen was on her deathbed, the scientists of Alexandria were able to extract her soul. An eerie feeling comes across the room. Otis repeats the Alexandrian beliefs. As long as we are remembered, we may live on. This was the mantra that held the people together. But as casualties mounted, the people sought to make it a reality through the power of Electrope. They were able to extract souls successfully, but the ultimate goal was to recreate a person as they were in life. But in order to do that, they needed to learn to extract memories from the soul. It took many years, and by then Otis was an old man. He volunteered himself as a test subject for this procedure, and that's how he tamed his vessel. He is proud overall. Through his sacrifice, it paved the way for those who were recreated from the memories of the departed. The Endless. You confirm your suspicions and ask Otis if Sphene is this same queen. He laughs and is surprised that you've met her, saying he's never talked to her since the procedure, as he doesn't want to scare her. Wuklamot is surprised by this revelation, saying all this time, Sphene wasn't alive. Otis claims it's a hard distinction to make. She lives, yet she does not. As having inherited their memories, a Endless acts, feels, and thinks precisely like the original person would. Otis personally believes they are alive. Alize wonders if the Alexandrians have noticed or even know of the Endless. Gulu Ja says not many know about the Endless, and the people who wear regulators don't even think about death. You ask if there's more Endless other than Otis and Sphene. Otis claims there should be as many Endless as those who have died, but they're limited where they can exist. Queen Sphene is unique in her ability to appear before you. He says technically he is not an Endless, as an Endless are recreated by using the memories extracted from the soul, while his whole soul was placed into a machine. If his mechanical body fails, he is able to truly die. Wuklamot wonders if Cahciua and the members of Oblivion knew about all of this. Alize doubts they wouldn't know, well informed as they are. She suggests you head back to the Oblivion headquarters and talk to Cahciua and Krile. Meanwhile, we cut to Erenville exploring Solution 9.
Nahe, is that you?
Good gods, Ellen Nespia! It's been too long, my friend! Where have you been all these years? What have you been doing with yourself? Hold on. They say Queen Sphene has guests from outside the barrier. That's you, I gather?
It seems so. I'm looking for my mother. Do you know where she is?
Your mother? Sorry, but what was she like again?
What? It's Cahciua. You know, the one who was too adventurous by half? Who journeyed with the Dawn Servant?
It's not ringing any bells.
You can't be serious. Ours was a tiny little village. Surely you remember her.
I really don't. It's all a blank.
Is anyone else here from the village?
away!
Huh? Elenespia?
I'm looking for Cahciua. Where is she?
What's this all of a sudden? Who's Cahciua?
This cannot be. The memories of the departed are taken away. No.
Alexandria, where are you? The others will be here soon, so hurry back, won't you? Do you hear me? Say something, would you?
Before you head back, you talk to Wuklamot. She says it doesn't matter what Sphene is. She knows she has a good heart, but she's concerned about the burden she's been bearing this whole time. She still doesn't know what it is. On the way back, you bump into the Queen, talking to the people in the outskirts. You confront her about the Endless, and she's surprised you know about them, and wonders where you got this information. Wuklamot denies telling her in fear of Otis' safety. Sphene claims she bears no ill will. She is just curious, as not many know of them. She says the Endless are precious to her as her living citizens, but the Endless can only be sustained by meeting certain requirements. So far, they've been able to keep them going, but if more people were to die, they would be pushed well past their limits. Saying that the preservation requires a vast amount of energy. Wuklamot wonders if there's something they can do to help, and Sphene asks you if you would be willing to become Alexandrian citizens. You both are puzzled by her answer and try to get more information out of her, but she chooses not to respond and says she wishes you both were born on the same side of it all, and runs off before you can press her further. You decide to let her go and meet up with the rest of your party outside the gates of the Everkeep. Once outside, you begin to give your farewells to Otis, promising to visit him with Gulu Ja regularly. But suddenly, a member of Oblivion comes running in a panic. Zoraal Ja has begun a march on the Vanguard base and is headed to Tuliyollal. The time has come to face him. Wuklamot asks Otis to keep Gulu Ja safe, but the boy wants to come along and stop his father. Otis interjects, saying that they have an important task to evacuate the people of the outskirts, and he needs his help, as a battle might break out. Gulu Ja listens to Otis and the two head out. Your party then heads to the Vanguard to meet Zoraal Ja. Wuklamot wishes to challenge him to a one-on-one duel to keep his focus on her and not Tuliyollal. He is upset that Wuklamot has taken her time and allied herself with the resistance. During their duel, it's revealed that the invasion was Sphene's idea from the beginning. She wishes to harvest all life outside the barrier, which is why Zoraal Ja allied himself with her. Wuklamot believes her brother is lying, but Sphene arrives and confirms he is telling the truth. Wuklamot asks if everything was a lie, even the love she bore for her people. Sphene exclaims she does everything for her people, and if she is to save her people, she must take the lives of hers. Suddenly, Zoraal Ja attacks Sphene, breaking the illusion, attempting to rattle his sister. This whole time, Sphene had been projecting herself over the bodies of sentries, able to move from body to body with ease. Wuklamot continues to try to reach out to Sphene to stop this madness, but she sees no other way. Alisaie tries to clarify what her goals are, but Zoraal Ja stops her from speaking and attacks Wuklamot. She fights back and is able to destroy his regulator. Angered by their fight, Zoraal Ja calls for all his units stationed outside the dome to lay waste to Tuliyollal. He believes he's won, and soon Tuliyollal will fall. But Wuklamot believes in Koana and the defenses he's prepared. With Tuliyollal united and an alliance with Radzahan, the people of Tural are able to push the invasion back. This further angers Zoraal Ja, and he kills one of his generals and takes his regulator. This angers Sphene, saying he promised he would never harm her people, but Zoraal Ja clearly doesn't care, saying it's the job of the King of Resolve to attain victory by any means necessary. He then commands the sentries of the Everkeep to kill all civilians and claim their souls. Gulu Ja then arrives and yells for his father to stop. Otis tells him it's not safe, but the child refuses to listen. Zoraal Ja quickly lunges at the child and yells that he is not his father. Your party prepares to attack the king. Otis commands him to release Gulu Ja or face the consequences. Zoraal Ja simply tells the sentry to kneel to his king. Otis goes silent, his eyes now glow red, and begins to kneel. Zoraal Ja then tells everyone to meet him at the top of Everkeep. There, things will be settled. He teleports away with Gulu Ja held hostage. Sphene switches bodies and rushes to her people's side. You gather your party and follow. When you arrive, you see the people of Solution 9 being slaughtered. Zoraal Ja lets Gulu Ja go, saying he has no further use of him. You find Sphene at the entrance in shock from what she is witnessing. Gulu asks her if she's able to get the sentries to stand down, and she says no. Zoraal Ja holds authority over the military. She cannot override his commands. Gulu, frustrated, yells at Sphene that if there's anything she can do for her people, do it. She then says Sphene's crimes are unforgivable, but her people are innocent, and she will not stand by and watch them be slaughtered. The queen is shocked that you would all still help her, even after everything she's done. Alize says that they can talk about it all later, and rallies everyone to save as many people as possible. You eventually reach Otis, who is now under the king's command. Sphene recognizes the name. A battle breaks out and you're able to stop him, but as you let your guard down, he reactivates and attempts to attack. But Sphene yells out for him to stop, saying she remembers him and asks him to remember himself as a proud knight of Alexandria. The real Otis would never hurt his people. Meanwhile, a fiend leaps to attack the queen, and Otis snaps out of it, protecting her. He vows upon his honor no harm will come to his queen or the citizens of Alexandria. You rally with Otis and fight off the fiend, but during the battle, Otis takes critical damage protecting his queen and the rest of the party from the fiend's ultimate attack. Sphene is saddened by the loss of Otis, as he did not have a regulator. He is truly dead. She quickly thanks your party for all the help, but says she cannot linger as she has duties to perform, then teleports her consciousness away. After helping some citizens, you head to the Oblivion headquarters. There, you find Gulu Ja staring at a corner in silence. Gulu, worried, approaches him. He feels guilty that so many died because of his father. He also knows Otis is now gone. Gulu Ja says he no longer cares. Gulu tries to comfort her nephew. She lets him know that they have to confront his father for what he's done to Tuliolal and the people of Alexandria and bring him to justice. Gulu Ja asks if she no longer thinks of his father as family anymore. She explains that it's not so simple. After the initial attack, she tried to disown her brother, but all the feelings she bears for her brother will simply not go away. As she always strived to live up to Zoraal Ja's example, she believes it is because they are family that it is her job to correct him. Gulu Ja says Otis is gone, and that if his father is gone too, he will have nobody. Cahciua asks Gulu Ja to look around and see his newfound family. Gulu promises him that we will be with him through thick and thin, and he will never feel alone again. Gulu Ja breaks down into tears, unleashing the feelings he's been holding inside for all these years. A look of determination comes across her face. Gulu grips her fist in a newfound fury for the pain Zoraal Ja has caused her nephew. Afterwards, your party makes plans to reach Zoraal Ja at the top of Everkeep Tower. Unable to use the elevator, a plan is made to travel through the Orogenics, the facility separating souls and memories, and by following the path of processed souls, you're led to Zoraal Ja's location.
What in the world is that? It couldn't be a void gate.
That is no void gate. It doesn't lead to the 13th.
Then...
Yes, in all likelihood, it's a portal to yet another reflection.
By the 12. To think that realities being fused together was only the beginning.
The speculation must wait. He's here. is a limit to how much ether a living being can harbor while retaining its physical form. Zoraal Ja has far exceeded that limit. With the souls he has absorbed, he has attained power to rival even a king among Voidsent, but at a terrible cost.
12 have mercy.
Brother? It ends here and now.
How it vexes when you call me brother. Brother, blood heir, resilient son. Who am I? What is my path? Why was I born?
I am Wuklamat, vow of resolve of Tulihyolol. And you are Zoraal Ja, king of resolve of Alexandria. For the last time, we fight. For duty. For blood. For everything.
Yes, we fight. Hold nothing back. This multitude of souls I shall burn to the last mote. I will kill you and prove the miracle. I will prove that I am Father's true successor.